Welcome back guys to another Cyberpunk video and to the ultimate best build of all time. When you start playing Cyberpunk or when you start a new game in Cyberpunk, you're often undecided between starting with a Netrunner, a Sandevistan or a Katana build. But in this video I will show you the ultimate all-in-one Netrunner Sandevistan Berserk build. This build will have no compromise, no sacrifice, and it will be just as strong as a regular Netrunner, Katana or Sandevistan build. And you can even use it with stealth and throwing weapons as well. To make the ultimate stealth Netrunner, you should of course use the Arasaka Cyber deck and combine it with memory wipe that will make you completely untraceable or even exit combat whenever you need to. And you can combine this with the ultimate stealth build where you can decide whether you want to shoot your way through using the Pride or any other sniper rifle, or hack your way through, or even use throwing weapons. However, my favorite variation for this build is still the infinite Black Wall spread hacker build, which uses borrow time, biomonitor and the reflex tuner in combination with all those kills you can make from the poser to get an infinite amount of RAM for an infinite Black Wall spread. But you can even modify this build into an ultimate Sandevistan build without changing any skills or attributes, which makes it by far the most versatile build ever. You can use any weapon type, any OS, and you will even have the absolute maximum capacity for your build, without having to sacrifice anything. Only a few changes of your cyberware, including your OS, will turn this build into the ultimate Sandevistan or even the ultimate Berserk build if you want to play with a katana. All this is possible to achieve in a single build because the core mechanics and the core items are very similar, even though the playstyles are completely different. But what makes a build strong are often the very same mechanics. And the most important mechanic of all is of course to achieve infinite operating system duration. No matter if you want to use a Netrunner build, you want to achieve infinite overclock with the help of Axolotl and Reflex tuner, and you can even achieve the same with Sandevistan also with the help of Axolotl and Reflex tuner. And even for Berserk this will also work in the same way. And if you combine that with borrow time and biomonitor, you will literally have infinite health and infinite RAM, and that will make you completely unkillable. And that is completely independent from whatever playstyle you prefer. So you have basically unlimited options to play this build, but of course one way which is very cool is just to activate overclock your health item and then simply upload 1 or 2 Blackwall hacks and see everyone die from it. Or you go for all out warfare using either Sandevistan or Berserk, your poser or the katana, or simply rip off everyone, including all those max tech squads. A more strategic approach would be to focus on stealth gameplay either by using your Netrunner hacker build or just by using the ultimate stealth build or a combination of both. No matter how you want to play, this build will cover it all. But now let's finally check out the build, guys. By the way, if you want to support me creating more of these crazy builds and stuff, please consider to become a Patreon or YouTube member or join our Discord server. For the first weapon, of course, we'll pick the Pride, which is still by far the best stealth weapon in the game. It has up to 400% headshot damage, and we will equip it with a Kanotsugo optics and an XC10 Ceto silencer. Our second weapon of mass destruction literally will be the Poser Xma 2. The Poser Xma 2 should be equipped with a Firecracker mod and with a Kneel mod, and the Kneel mod will turn this weapon into a complete killing machine. To get a Kneel mod you have to be at least around level 30 or 40, then go to Wilson's shop and reload his shop until the Kneel mod appears in his inventory. This can take up to 30 or 40 times sometimes because it is just extremely rare. The weapon itself can be found in Dogtown in a secret location that is only available and open after 1 AM in the morning. In the third weapon slot we will put the Katana, and the Byakko is still by far the best of it, mainly because of its unmatched attack speed. But you can of course also replace it and use throwing weapons such as the Bluefang or the Agau instead. In the Netrunner version the operating system should be the Militech Kanto Mark 6, but I will show you all the other options later as well. As additional hacks I would recommend you to go for Memory Wipe, System Collapse, Synapse Burnout and Sonic Shock. I would always recommend you to upload Sonic Shock first to your enemies because it will reduce the cost of the Blackwall hack, and it will also make your Blackwall hack spread faster, because the farther it is behind in your queue, the faster it will upload and the faster it will spread. What you should also consider is the order of quick hacks. The last one here in the list will be the first one when you open your menu, so you should put Sonic Shock in the bottom one. If you do it correctly, the Blackwall hack will upload and spread almost as quickly as any other quick hack, which is extremely important because you want want to spread it really fast. If you don't have the Kanto deck yet, you can of course also use the Netrunner Crippler Mark V. In this case, you should equip Cripple Movement, Cyberware Malfunction, Short Circuit, Ping, System Collapse and Synapse Burnout. If you want to make a stealth Netrunner with the Arasaka Cyber deck, I would recommend you go for Cripple Movement, Cyberware Malfunction, Short Circuit, Ping, but then Memory Wipe and System Collapse. In the hand slot we'll go for a Smart Link, then we go for Blood Pump to get the most out of our Netrunner setup and Optical Camo. All in all, this build will have around 400% headshot damage when you use the Pride and up to 90% critical damage with a base crit chance of 50%, which will be almost 100% with the additional bonuses from our Cyberware. Now let's check out the Cyberware. We have 360 capacity, which is the absolute maximum, which is legitimately possible because we have over 5 attributes over 9. This is including collecting all single shards once without using any duplicate glitches or anything else. I will also show you the Netrunner variant here first. For the Netrunner variant, these are the mandatory items. Of course, you can remove or exchange any other items, but these are the ones which are recommended to make this build work. In the frontal cortex, we go for X-Disk, which is extremely important to speed up the upload time, especially for the Blackwall hack. And especially if you go for the Blackwall Netrunner setup, then you can safely use a normal bioconductor. That is more than enough to kill every enemy because the Blackwall hack will deal so much damage anyway. Then we go for the Axolotl, which is also absolutely mandatory to prolong all your operating system effects. For the operating system as a Netrunner, the best of course would be to use the Militech Kanto Mark VI, but the Rippler or the Arasaka Cyber deck for Netrunner stealth build would also be valid options. For the eyewear, we'll go for the Kiroshi Cockatrice optics, which will add an additional 35% crit chance, but if you want more survivability, then you can remove the Cockatrice optics and use Second Heart instead of Blood Pump. A normal healing item will do just as fine as a Blood Pump anyway. I'm not a big fan of arms Cyberware, but if you remove your Blood Pump, you can also squeeze in Mantis Blades or Monowire if you want. We will go for the Epimorphic Skeleton to increase our health, the Spring Joints to increase our mitigation strength, and Ram Recoup to get Ram every time we get hit. In the nervous system, we pick up Stabber for all our melee weapons, including our arms Cyberware. Then we go for Reflex Gina, which is one of the most important items in this build, because together with the Axolotl it greatly helps you to prolong all your operating system effects. Another great trick is the Deep Field Visual Interface, which gives you 1% additional critical damage for every point you put in cool, which can be up to 20%. The integumentary system we go for Shock and Awe, then Optical Camo, and of course the Counter Shell, especially for Netrunner build. This is almost a must-have since you consistently lose health for using RAM. That will almost permanently trigger an additional 50% mitigation chance. Then we go for the Smart Link and the Handle Wrap to further increase our crit chance for our throwing weapons. In the circulatory system we will go for Blood Pump, even though a normal max stock would be almost as good. Then we go for Heal and Kill and of course Biomonitor to automatically trigger our Blood Pump and max stocks whenever we need them. Last but not least we'll go for the Tendons for your double jump. Depending on the type of build you want to make sure that you reroll your Cyberware stats to increase your favorite stats. For this build, this would of course be quick hack damage. But if you want to make a Sandevistan build or melee build, you could of course also go for melee damage or stealth damage, for example. If you want to change this build into a Sandevistan build, you can of course go for the Falcon Sandevistan, Mechatronic Core, Bionic Joints, Dance Marrow, and I would recommend you also go for Carapace and Second Heart. For Berserk build, we basically use the same items as for Sandevistan. We will equip the Biodyne Berserk, then additionally equip Parabellum. And if you want to, you can also remove Second Heart and replace it with Micro Rotors, since Berserk is the most unlikely build that you will ever die with. As long as Berserk is active, you will be permanently invincible anyway. Now the skills are really what makes this build very special. We will go for 15 body, 15 reflex and 20 tech, and then we will go for 15 cool and 16 intelligence. You actually don't have to max out intelligence as a Netrunner, especially when you play with a Blackwall hack, because the Blackwall hack just deals so much damage anyway that you will be perfectly fine with exactly 16 points. At 16 points you will get exactly 4 additional RAM from your intelligence level, which is the perfect sweet spot. So in the intelligence tree we don't use any of the finishers, which are overrated anyway. We go for optimization, proximate propagation, embedded exploit, system overwhelm, and then everything that improves overclock. Overclock is by far the most important skill, so if you focus on Netrunner, make sure you get that one first. In the left tree we go for Eye in the Sky, Hack Q and Q acceleration, then we go for Blood Demon, even though it is not as strong anymore as before. Much better for refilling your RAM are Feedback Loop and Data Recycler. In the body tree we get all the basic stuff here at the bottom, especially Painkiller and Dorpad, which gives you 100% medication chance for 2 seconds. Then we go for Adrenaline and everything that improves Adrenaline, Unstoppable Force, Juggernaut and Calm Mind. In this setup we don't use the body finisher, but these 20% recharge speed are not a big deal anyway. You will get much more and much quicker health items from the Borrowed Time perk. In the Reflex tree we have enough points to go for Slippery Dash and even for Air Dash, and if you want to focus on katanas, then you should also go for Lead and Steel and everything that leads to Flash and Thunderclap, which is one of the most powerful attacks for your katanas. If you like to play with SMGs or rifles, you can of course also go for some of these perks in the left tree, especially Sharpshooter is a good option. I've been cutting a few perks here in the tech tree, but we still go all things Cyber, License to Chrome and Netrunner of course to get the maximum capacity for our build. If you plot in a monowire, you can of course also go for Cyborg, then Ambidextrous, Extended Warranty. Chrome Constitution will further reduce your damage, Renaissance Punk of course for more capacity, and then Driver Update and Shipware Connoisseur to use the Cyberware stats reroll. Shipware Connoisseur is a perk you can actually remove once you are finished with the stats reroll, but Driver Update must stay, otherwise you lose the perk. In the left tree we only go for Glutton for War and Health Freak, so we don't go for Pyromania this time, and here we also have the secret God Mod perk, which is Borrowed Time. Without this perk the whole build and mostly every Netrunner won't really work, so absolutely get this perk, and then of course also get First Aid and Transfusion to further improve your health items. We've even 15 points in cool, which will also allow us to use all the cool stealth perks, especially Vanishing Act. This perk will make you invisible whenever you crouch without even recharging your optical camo. Of course we also go for Killer Instinct and Quick Getaway, and then we use the perks for the throwing weapons, Scorpion Sting and everything that is related to Juggler, which immediately allows us to recoup any of those weapons which we thrown. The Relic Tree is not really important, you will most likely want to get Emergency Cloaking and Vulnerability Analytics, but you will fill out the entire tree anyway, no matter what. I hope you really like this new all-around Netrunner build. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave me a like and see you next time.